Welcome to Our Scars Speak. My name is Christina Miner. I am the host of this podcast. And before we begin, I want to make sure I give a disclaimer as usual, which is we are not coming to tell anyone to change from their treatment plans. We're not coming here to give any type of medical or mental health advice for you to entertain and utilize. We do not want you to go against your medical team. We are just here to share our story and to just share what we've gone through and some of the things that we are doing within the community. So tonight I have a guest on by the name of Tamika Baker. We met through social media somewhere and we've talked and I've watched her interviews and she's very informative. And she was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. And that was really, when I seen that, it really intrigued me. I'm like, I want to definitely see what she has to talk about. So I'm so glad she took up the offer to come on Our Scars Speak tonight. So thank you so much, Tamika.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
You are very welcome. Very welcome. So before we get into a lot of things, of course, I want to know, who is Tamika? Now, we know that there's the survivor that came and the thriver that came later as far as dealing with breast cancer. And I'm sure you wear multiple hats, but I just want you to take this time to tell the audience who you are, maybe some characteristics about yourself, something fun about yourself, but who is Tamika?
Okay, well, my name is Tamika Baker. I have labeled myself as Pink Breasty's sister, and I'm a 47-year-old woman that's a mother of three beautiful and lovely and courageous and strong sons. And I'm also the youngest of four. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. I moved to Houston, Texas to pursue my career in the medical field after I left the Postal Service after 17 years of service.
Wow.
Yes.
You had 17 years?
Yes, I literally
Wow.
started out of high school working for the post office. And then I decided to go back to school because the goal was always to once work in the medical field. So Texas has a huge medical community, and
Okay.
Houston appealed to me with it almost seemed like Atlanta a little bit. So that's
Okay.
why I moved here, and I'm now a certified medical coder for Baylor College of Medicine.
Oh,
And
wow. So you're a coder. Okay, because
yes,
that was my next question. Like, what do you do in the medical?
yes. I'm a
Okay.
certified medical coder at Baylor. I've been
Wow.
there, this year be 8 years. And I've been
Wow.
in Houston, this year would be 11 years. Yeah.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah.
So what kind of got you into like wanting to go into the medical field? Like, what was there was there something that just kind of drove you? Did somebody in your family worked in the medical field, or just something that you aspired to do?
Well, we have a few of my cousins that are in the medical field, but I also just wanted to get in the medical field originally to be a sonographer for
Oh.
doing the heart. And I completed the actual courses, but once I got to Houston, things changed and I had to pivot, which was fine, but I had medical assistant skills as well. So
Okay.
I started on the back end, the clinical side of medical assistant when I first got here. And then I got into the billing and the coding, and I felt like that was more my place, my niche was the billing
Right.
and coding. Yeah, but I originally wanted to be in the medical field because my mom has medical issues, my grandfather, grandmother, we have, different
Right.
family medical issues, and I just wanted to be a person that helped people.
And that's always good, because I know for myself, I was a CNA too for a
Mhm.
long time. And I love the medical field. I love medicine, and I love, the mind. I think sometimes it does come from things, either someone sick in our family or people in the family who worked in the medical field, and we just kind of glean from them. So that's
Yes.
good. Well, thank you for your service, because coders are definitely
you.
needed. We know that
Thank
very much
you.
within the
Yeah.
breast cancer community, how much.
Absolutely. Definitely.
Yeah. So I do see behind you, it
Mhm.
appears, I don't want to assume, but it appears that you're a woman of faith, that you're
Yes.
Christian. I see
Yes.
all the scriptures. I love that background. So cute.
Yes.
So, So basically, next, I kind of want to know, because everybody always asks us, how is breast cancer, once you found out, but I want to know, what was life like before you got the diagnosis?
Um, hmm, Life was kind of, I had a little bit of hecticness, a little
Okay.
stress, but, and I think that was more job related,
Hmm.
and that's mostly it. But I was carefree. Um, right at the time when I guess I would say my diet right before the
Hmm.
diagnosis, it was technically we was in the um COVID. We was in the
Okay.
COVID and lockdown, and I think I kind of inverted, and I wasn't going out. I was trying to stay from
Mm-hmm.
everything and everybody. And then we started working at home. So everything was home based. We would eat, me and my babe would
Right.
eat, we get movies, he'll go to work, I stay here. So it was more of a invertedness. And I could
Mm.
tell that I started gaining weight. I did have a little depression here and there because I had a few classmates that passed during COVID. I
Oh,
had
wow.
family members that passed, and some of the family members got sick. So it was a depressive time, here and there, but I kind of brushed it off like, oh well, it's just, it's nothing major, we'll get out of
Right.
this. And but I still was going to the doctor, I still
Hmm.
was going to my doctor's appointments, still getting my mammograms, everything was fine, everything was beautiful.
Right.
And 2021, that's
That's when it
when,
happened.
yeah, that's when it happened. I went to my annual mammogram
Hmm.
January 2021. Everything was clear. The mammogram was great. By October, November-ish,
Hmm.
I felt the lump. And I was thinking, well, I have, family members that had, cysts or benign tumors, nothing major. So I'm like, oh, it's not cancer. We don't have breast cancer in the family, even though my
Right.
grandfather passed of prostate cancer.
Mm.
So, I'm just like, oh, we don't have that. And when I went to my annual PAP visit,
Hmm.
that's when I let my GYN then let her know that I felt a lump. And when she felt it, she said, yes, this is concerning. And she immediately sent me to where I needed to go to get another mammogram.
So let me back up a little bit. So
Mhm.
when COVID hit
Yeah,
2020,
yeah,
were you already in Texas then, or you were still in
yes,
Atlanta? Okay, so
yes.
you
I've been
had
in
moved.
Texas. Yes,
Gotcha.
I've been in Texas since 2012.
2012.
So
Okay, I couldn't
right,
remember. All right. So
yeah.
you were already in Texas.
Hmm.
COVID hits, you're kind of depressed a little bit. And I think
Yeah.
some of us kind of did go through that.
Hmm.
And then you find out this diagnosis in
Hmm.
2021.
Yes, I found the lump in
In
2021,
2021.
and
Okay.
I got the diagnosis in January of 2022.
Oh, and how, if you don't mind me asking, how old were you at that time?
I was 45.
45.
I
Okay.
was 45, yes.
And
So,
so did anyone in your family have genetic testing like after the
no, no
prostate?
one in my
Okay.
family yet has had genetic testing, just me. And of course, with the genetic testing, it came back no family history.
Hmm.
But I also, on my father's side of the family, I don't know what medical history is there. So I could have breast cancer on my father's side, but not on my
Right.
mother's side.
And yeah, and the genetic testing is so, because they haven't discovered all the mutations. So
Yes.
that's why, like, my doctor is like, okay, in the next few years, you're gonna have to go back and get tested again because we may have a different panel. So
Mm-hmm.
that can be kind of tricky. And I think some people, because they hear in their family they don't have any type of cancers, they
Mm-hmm.
just assume, oh, I don't need to take the test, or they take the test and it's a negative and they think, oh, they don't have to ever take it again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a misconception. But at the same time, it depends on the person's doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So you get the diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to explain that time when they called, or either you had to go in? I don't know what happened in your situation. If you want to elaborate, feel
Mm-hmm.
free.
I will. So at the time, in 2021, I was
Mhm.
going to a new GYN, and her name is, we call her Dr. A. And I was going to her for fibroids and polyps and all the other things that was going on with me
Oh,
because
wow.
I started having menopausal symptoms and
Mm.
spotting and all the things that some women we go through.
Right.
And she immediately, when we did the annual exam on um, New Year's Eve, is
Mhm.
when I got my diagnostic mammogram and ultrasound.
Okay.
And they sent everything off. Then they let me know they didn't let me know, but you know how it could be like, we think we see something,
Right.
let's do a biopsy. So January, I went in for the biopsy, still thinking nothing's there, something's there, but
Right.
it's nothing major. And then when they called me in, when Dr. A called me in, she's normally bubbly and we
Mhm.
laughing and joking, and she was like, Miss Baker.
Oh.
And I knew something was wrong. And I cried, I cried, I cried, I cried. She actually was gonna call me an Uber or call my significant other to come pick me
Mhm.
up. But I told her, just give me a second to kind of get myself together. So when I told my significant other, my sister, and I was crying and crying and crying, and they said, well, what did the doctor actually tell you? And then I told them, and they
Mhm.
said, well, we know you heard cancer first, but did you hear her say that you're going to be okay, that you
Ah.
can get chemo? And I said, no, all I heard was cancer, cancer,
Yep.
cancer. That's all I heard was cancer.
Yep.
And they said, okay, we're just gonna, go ahead, see what your options are. She referred me to Methodist Willowbrook.
Okay.
And from me being in the medical field, I always have been told, you get first consultation, second get
Mhm.
more than one because you want to make sure you're with the right person. So
Mhm.
being that I had triple negative stage 2, grade 2B, it was spreading rapidly. And that's the one
Right.
thing about triple negative. It affects Black women more common than any other race, and it's most aggressive. Being that the fact is estrogen not feeding it, progesterone not feeding it, the
Mhm.
HER2 not feeding it, they don't know where it's coming from.
Right.
So immediately, the first thing would be chemo. So once they sent me to Methodist Willowbrook, was where I
Mhm.
met Dr. Yoga as my oncologist surgeon. She gave me, the information, and then
Right.
I went to other doctors, but I just felt so comfortable at Methodist Willowbrook. They
Mhm.
made me feel like Tamika and not just a breast cancer patient.
Right. And that's
And then
important.
yes, yes. And
That
that is where I have been for my treatment with Dr. Yoga, Dr. Shushman, Dr. Abu Shaheen, and
okay.
the lovely staff there. I love them. They are just,
Oh.
yes,
And
they
I
are
seen some of your
awesome.
pictures like at your doctor's office. You had like
Yes.
balloons, and I guess that was like, I don't know if that was like the last day of
Yes,
chemo or
that was the
something.
the balloon picture was the day that I got my pathology report. So I had
Okay.
6 months of chemo.
Mhm.
And after the 6 months of chemo, right in the middle is when they decide, well, let you decide whether you want to have a double mastectomy, a lumpectomy, a single mastectomy, or however you want to do it. And so, of
Right.
course, me, I'm like, well, what should I do? And they said, well, we can't make that decision for you.
Mm-mm.
We could give
Right.
you the information, but you have to make that sound decision on your own. So once I started doing research, I said, okay, I see the numbers, I see the
Mhm.
reoccurrence. You can't, as they say, nothing is 100%. So they can't
Right.
say you can get it back, and they cannot say you can. They don't know. So I decided to do the double mastectomy. And once I did, before I went in for the double mastectomy, I saw Dr. S for the plastic surgery part. And that's when
Okay.
I figured out once, and it's so ironic that right when I was making my decision is when the FDA came out about the implants causing cancer.
Mhm.
And then I said, nope, I won't be doing implants. So, and so I went to him and we talked about all the different transfer fat surgeries.
Right.
And I asked him, was I a good candidate for the deep flap? And he said yes. So once we did the double mastectomy, I got the tissue expanders, and the pictures that you saw with the balloons was
Yeah.
everybody celebrating my pathology from my
Okay.
double mastectomy, that it came back clear after everything.
Everything. Okay. So I just want to go back a little, well, somewhat from the
Okay.
beginning. So you had triple negative,
Mhm.
which definitely I know that anyone can get diagnosed with it, but like you
Yeah.
stated, a lot of people do not know that Black women are sometimes diagnosed at an alarming rate, and the death rate for us is alarming with triple negative.
Yes.
And we are also usually diagnosed early with it if there's
Mhm.
early detection.
Yes.
But when we're diagnosed early with it, usually we're already at a higher stage. And I
Yes.
think that's the part that some people do not know
Yes.
and they need to be aware of, because triple negative, like you state, it can be very severe
Yes.
and
And very aggressive. Very.
very aggressive, right?
Yes.
Once, and I know some women who are Caucasian and
Mhm.
African American women who, one lady I know now, she's fighting it and she's now stage 4 and she's 36 years old and she's Caucasian.
Yes.
But also statistically, I want to put that out there.
Mhm.
Statistically, in the African American community with women, it is killing us at alarming rate.
Yes.
And so it's a miracle that
Yes.
you found it, that
Yes.
found that lump, because
Yes.
it could have you could have not found it because you didn't have anything. What was it prior
It
to
was
that?
that was about, it wasn't
It
maybe a
wasn't
little bit
long,
over 6 months.
right?
So I kind of started looking back. You know how you look back of what if or what
Mhm.
or what if, and I started thinking, well, once I started doing research and seeing that stage 0 or stage 1, and I said maybe I was at stage 0 or stage 1, and it was so small they couldn't see it. But that's because I had dense breasts,
I was
which
about
is
to ask you that.
another. Yep, which is another factor when it comes
Mhm.
to African American women and breast cancer. We have dense breasts. And being that, because my breast was small, I never did breast self exams.
Mhm.
I'm a firm believer now that
Yeah,
do
you got to do
do
them.
it
Yeah,
on the first. Do
yeah.
it on the first.
Whether you had
So,
breast tissue
yeah,
or not, we still have some
yes,
remaining. Yeah, definitely. You
do
do.
it on the first.
Right.
Yeah, and that was a misconception that I'm thinking, oh, my breast is small. I won't get cancer. I won't,
Mhm.
it's nothing going to be there. I literally found my tumor just putting on a bra, literally.
Right.
Hmm.
And so with dense tissue, of course, there again, anyone can have dense tissue. They have found more African American women have it more,
Hmm.
or a higher. What is it? Because it's like different categories. We're a little
Yes,
bit higher as far as density. A lot of
yes.
us that are African American.
Mhm.
So once again, that's a statistical fact. I don't want anyone to think that, oh, well, you're just saying Black or just saying white. No, it's not. Breast cancer don't care what race you are. So let's
Right.
throw
And
that out there.
that is, they don't care what race
It
or
does not
gender.
care.
Yes,
Nothing, right? Or gender,
yes. Or
exactly. That's the other
age.
thing, or
And
age.
age. Mhm.
That is across the board. But as Tamika said, there are some statistics out there that are alarming for African American, the Latina community, and also even some Asians.
Yes.
So so they're still doing a lot of research on that. So I'm
Yes.
thankful that you found that lump in time,
Yes.
that it wasn't, a higher stage. So
Yes.
I'm kind of curious because I heard you say that your loved ones asked you, okay, well, did they say anything? Like, are you gonna make it? Because, and that's so true, because when you hear
Mhm.
that, when you just hear it was carcinoma for me. When they said carcinoma, I'm like, oh, I didn't hear no ductal, I didn't hear no in situ, I didn't hear no stage 0. I heard
That's all you
carcinoma
hear.
equals cancer.
Yep.
So, um, and it kind of, for me, and it appears that the same thing happened to you. Like, you kind of went deaf to
Yes.
everything else, and your mind
Exactly.
kind of goes, oh my God, where did your mind initially? I know mine went to, oh my God, how long do I have? I don't know if your mind went there or how.
Yeah, it 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 didn't go to how long I had. It
Mhm.
went to, okay, I'm stage 2,
Mhm.
2B. So is
Right.
it going into 3? They saw swelling in my lymph nodes. I'm like, is it in my lymph nodes? I'm
Right.
just freaking out. And all I could think of was my sons.
Mhm.
Those three, that's all I was thinking of is they do not need to hear this. They do not need to have
Mhm.
this stress, on their lives because that's a lot on your
Right.
kids. It's a lot
Right.
on the family as a whole, but on your children, it's a whole lot to process, to understand. So I didn't even tell them initially off the bat. I waited until I got all the information as far as the chemo, what's my
Mhm.
options, made sure I gave them everything that they needed to understand that I was going to be okay.
And that's so wise
Mhm,
because I think, God, that's so wise because my
mhm.
daughter was home when it happened to me and I just freaked out and it
Yeah,
messed her up because she had never seen me that upset before.
right.
And I think for me, when I'm saying, how long do I have to live? Just like with you, it's like, how long do I have to live? But truthfully, it's more like to be with my children and to be with my
Right.
family,
Right.
and I think it's just a lot to hear. It's a lot to digest.
Yes.
And even if you're possibly expecting it or not expecting it, it's still just very shocking to actually
Yes.
hear that that's what you have. So
Yes.
you said that you didn't do the implant because of the study. So
Yes.
what she's talking about is that there was a study. So we're going to have a guest come on this month also, which
Uh-huh.
I'll get into another time. But
Right.
I'm so excited about it because she's going to talk about breast implant and breast implant illness and stuff. And so what happened, what Tamika's speaking of, is that there was a breast implants do not necessarily give you cancer, but there was a particular kind that was rough on the outside. It had like a rough texture to it. And I can't
Mhm,
remember the exact name of it, but I can definitely, after the podcast, put on
mhm,
Facebook some
mhm,
information for people. But like Tamika stated, it was giving people that particular implant was giving
mhm.
people, cancer.
Yeah.
And I yeah. So, and it's a personal decision about
It
implants and
is.
stuff. And so you got the deep flap. Now,
Yes.
explain the deep flap for people out there who may not know what deep flap is, because you got trans fat, you got flap, we got deep flap, we got so many different things out
Mhm.
there.
It's
But
different flaps.
yeah,
Yes.
so explain that a little bit, like your experience with it.
Okay, so with the deep flap, some people will look at it as, oh, you're getting the tummy tuck, your body gonna be
Right.
snatched. No, this is not a friendly, oh, I just want to be snatched. This breast cancer affected me, and these are the options that I have to
Right.
make me feel whole, not whole, but just feel better about myself and the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So the deep flap surgery is when they basically cut in your abdomen. They remove the fat, your veins, the arteries, and they rebuild you a new set of breasts. That's what the deep flap technically is. And they sew you back up. And it's a nice little scar at the bottom from hip to hip. And
Right.
then, they just transfer everything up to your breast. So far my experience been actually good. I've
Oh,
been
okay.
been doing exactly what my doctors tell me to do.
How long was your surgery? Because I know some people's surgeries are like extremely long with the deep flap.
Mine was 13
I was
hours.
about to say 14 is
Yeah,
what I heard.
yeah. My
Yeah.
doctor is a perfectionist and I love him for it. So he took his time to make sure
Okay.
everything was placed correctly. And his
Wow.
Nurse Meredith, she always give her patients like a little binder. And
Uh-huh.
I call it the Bible. This is the
Yeah.
Bible they give you. So abide by the Bible. If you abide
Right.
by the Bible, you will be just fine.
Yeah, I call mine the breast cancer Bible. Like it's everything in that
Everything
binder. And I
in
probably
it.
got it somewhere around here near me.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It has my
Yes.
pathology reports,
Mhm.
everything. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
And
so they basically took the tissue from your abdomen because
mhm,
once again, for those who are listening, it depends
mhm,
on where you have the most tissue from what I've
that
been
part.
told. Yeah,
That is correct.
right,
Because you can do I would say the transfer of the fat from your
right.
stomach, your thighs, your back. I think they have one. You may can do it from your butt. I'm not for
Yeah,
sure,
I'm
but
not
I
for
get
sure about the butt, but I know the back area for
yes,
sure.
the back
Yeah.
and the thighs and the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was surprisingly never this big before in my life, but before I started chemo, I was 180 pounds.
Okay.
And a lot of people can't believe that, but that's exactly what that scale said.
He said that's
180
exactly
pounds.
what it said.
Yeah. And so by the time I did the double mastectomy,
Mhm.
dealing with the chemo and eating differently,
Right.
I ended up losing and I got down to about 165. By the time
Okay.
I did the deep flap, well, by the time I did the double mastectomy, I was 168. By the
Mhm.
time I did the deep flap, I was 165, but I still had enough, to transfer
Right.
because I didn't want to be too big or overwhelming,
Mhm.
but I did want enough and a little bit more than what I had before.
So with the deep flap, I know they move primary, all the tissue from look, you're up here for triple negative and I'm talking about deep flap, but but a lot of people don't have that
Because
procedure done.
it all comes together. It's
Yeah,
all
it
together
does.
with the breast cancer. Yes.
So with the deep flap, when they move the tissue up, did they also do any fat grafting? And fat grafting, guys, is when they take like liposuction you and they kind of fill you in a little bit where, like, say, for instance, if you have an implant, they'll fill you in to make sure you have there, it's not like a rippling or you can see anything. I'm assuming, I don't know with deep flap, I don't think they would have to considering they're moving tissue, or did they?
Well, that's what I'm actually scheduled for a surgery on Monday, and that
Mhm.
is when I'm getting the fat grafting because,
Oh,
like I said, my doctor is a perfectionist, and before he could say it, I noticed it that my left breast was a tad bit bigger than the right. So when we did
okay.
the post-op, he took me to the mirror and he said, "Do you see anything?" I said, "No, do you see anything?" Because I knew what I saw.
Right.
And he
That was smart.
right. And he said yes. And that's when he told me, he said he see where once they take off, it's called the dog ears. So when
Yeah.
they close you up, it's like on the sides where your love handles would be. It's a little fat that looks like it flaps a little. That's why they
Mhm,
call it the dog ears. So he's gonna cut those off
mhm.
and then he's going to, like you said, do a little lipo and add more to my right breast.
So I have dog ears, but they're up near the sides underneath my armpits.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
when you said dog ears, I was like, wait a minute, are we talking, because you sit
It's
down
the
at the
same
bottom, but
thing.
I guess, yeah, I guess the way they close you up
The
depends
way they
on
close
one.
you up, right? Because they
Yeah.
close you up on the sides. So
Okay.
everybody don't get dog ears. Majority of the people do, because my question was, when you're in the Facebook groups and the
Right.
Instagram groups, you see people, going through phase one, two, three, four,
Hmm.
5, and 20. And you're
Yeah.
asking yourself, oh my God, how many surgeries do I have to do? But luckily, and thank God, I only have to do this one because like I said, I literally been sticking by the book. I've been eating
Right.
better. I've been exercising. I've been doing exactly what I'm supposed to do. Stomach still flat, still
Right.
have a little, where they're gonna take the fat out. Those would technically be my love handles that
Right.
they're taking off to add onto my chest.
Wow. Okay. That's the first time I've ever heard someone refer to their abdomen area having dog ears. So you taught
Yes.
me something tonight. Oh, I've
Yes.
definitely heard it in sides because I hate mine. And my doctor's
Yes.
like, well, we can fix that. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to go back under again. So
Right, right.
yeah, I don't know. It's such a, because you're
It's
right.
a
There's some
personal,
people who
it's
go all the time, and I don't knock it, because
yeah,
you want to look how you want to look, but I
right.
don't like being put under. I guess I have control issues, but I just it is not fun for me being put under.
Right.
And yeah, so
I
wow.
definitely understand. Yeah, because If I would have just got the dog ears removed, then
Mhm.
it would have been a outpatient in office procedure. But because you're doing the
Oh,
fat grafting, they do have to put you under for the fat grafting because it's the
okay.
liposuction.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay. And
yeah,
see, I think for mine, she would have to put me under because I have some scar tissue situations going on.
gotcha.
So yeah. Wow. That is, yeah, you taught me something new. Okay. Um, so once you found out about having breast cancer, especially having triple negative, how was life like for you during this process of going to the doctors and back and forth to chemo, and you had to go through radiation too, correct?
No, no
Oh, you did
radiation.
not. Oh,
No,
okay.
no
So yeah,
radiation.
so explain that, because I haven't found too many people who haven't done that part. So yeah, explain what your treatment plan was as far as the chemo and stuff and how long.
So my chemo was 6 months, and by I guess you would say the third, I guess it would be right around the third session is
Okay.
because they was monitoring me. I had to go get multiple ultrasounds to check to see if the chemo was working, if it was shrinking the tumor, because my tumor was
Oh,
actually it was a golf ball. That's how big.
oh, it was that large.
Yes, and that's why they
Okay.
didn't opt to do the surgery first. Because a lot of people, when you find it earlier, they'll do the
Mhm.
surgery first, and then if it's cancerous by the pathology report,
Right.
then you would do chemo. But in my case, because it was so big and it was so close to my lymph node, it didn't go into it, but it was that
Oh,
close.
wow.
That's why I had to do the chemo. So by I want to say the third session is when I did my first ultrasound and they started seeing that it was shrinking. And by
Okay.
the time I finished my chemo was from February the 28th to
Mhm.
August 12th. By the time I finished my chemo, they couldn't even see it at all. They
And
couldn't
how
even see it.
often do you go back now for
For
what is your,
scans.
yeah, do you go back for scans or anything?
Yes, yes, I still go back for scans for the CAT scans.
Oops,
I
sorry.
still do the MRI CAT scans.
Sorry, I got a feedback. I'm sorry. Hold on
Okay,
a
it's
second. Yeah, because I am trying. If you can hear me both, okay, go ahead.
okay. Okay. I still go back and do the CAT scans
Okay.
to make sure that I'm still cancer free. So far I've had two since
Mhm.
my mastectomy. So I'm supposed to go every 3 months, and then it's
Oh,
gonna be every 6 months, and then it's gonna go, it's the longer it goes out, the longer it'll be. But every 3 months, they're going to scan me, which, as we know, the anxiety of it
yeah,
all.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
it's like the nerves again. Every time, it's time to do a scan, I get nervous, but
Hmm.
I still have the faith, that
Right.
God got me. But it's still just being human. You
Hmm.
still in your mind, Lord, please don't let nothing be, on the scan. Please don't let them see nothing. I even asked the doctor um after the first one, please do not put it in my chart. Because if you put it in my
Oh,
chart, I'm gonna look at it and I'm gonna try to diagnose everything that's on there. And that's what
yeah.
happened with my first
Yep.
one. Yeah, I started looking and I seen something that said you had spots here, and you had spots. And I'm like, wait a minute, what are the spots? And I got freaked out. And he was like,
Hmm.
no, where you have your spots, that's common and they're small. But the beautiful part of it is as well, as we know, chemo kills everything. I have no more fibroids,
Oh,
no more
really?
polyps. It killed all of it.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
So with the chemo, so you go, so you go back every 3 months.
3 months for the
Is
scan.
that because you're triple negative?
Yes, because it's more likely in some statistics when you have triple negative, that window of 2 to 5 years, it
Hmm.
can come back.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, that's unfortunately, because
yeah,
someone was asking me like, what's survival? And I was like, honestly, it's it's messed up how they do the statistics, but
Yeah,
all in a general pool of 5
right.
years.
Yes.
Um, so I know though, with your, the diagnosis you had is definitely, something that they definitely probably want to keep track of. Now, I was just curious because you've had a double mastectomy, correct?
That's correct.
And a lot of times when you get a double mastectomy, but I guess this depends on diagnosis. I know you all get scans like far as triple negative and stuff, but I didn't realize it was that often. For some of us, when we get a double mastectomy, we get no more scans
Oh,
at
wow.
all.
Wow.
And it's not just because I'm DCIS stage 0. There's some other friends of mine who had different stages that were invasive, and they don't either. We just have to, if we find something that's alarming. So that's why I was talking about, like, the codes are very important and significant, depending on how your doctor put the code in for whatever,
Yes.
to see if you could get a scan or ultrasound. But so that every 3 months, will that be forever, or will after a year it'll go to 6, and then a year it'll
Yes.
go to a year?
Yeah, after
Okay.
a year or year and a half, it goes to 6. And then
Okay.
it spans out the longer I go out for, survivorship.
So far as your overall treatment plan, though, it will be every year, though. Once you get to a certain point, they will have it once a year for the rest of your life.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Because we can't, with no more mammograms, no
Right.
more ultrasounds. So the only other way they can test to see if I haven't been, I did hear that, which I'm still learning different
Uh-huh.
things since I've been going to different groups and meetings about blood tests. I don't remember what the test name is, but they can
Yeah.
test it and see if you have the margins for, breast cancer.
Right.
So, but other than that, the only thing they can do is CAT scans. And that way
Mm-hmm.
it actually goes over your whole body, because
Right.
sometimes you may get a secondary cancer and it may not come back in your chest walls. It may come in your kidneys or your
Mm-hmm.
head or your back or your skin or your bones. So that's why they do a whole CAT scan of your whole body to make sure everything is clear.
So are they doing CAT scans on you or PET scans?
Is it PET?
It's probably PET. I'm
I
thinking,
think it's I think it's CAT.
because I think the PET goes all the way over,
I
like,
think it's
goes your whole body.
it's the chest and the abdomen is what they normally. So
Oh, so they just
that's
do
the
here.
CAT scan. Yes,
Yep,
they
that's
just
CAT
do
scan.
here to here. Yeah,
Yep.
that's a CAT scan.
Because the
CAT
PET
scan.
scan goes over,
It's
like,
go from the head
oh,
to the right.
yeah,
That's
all the
what the
way
PET
over.
scan is.
Yeah,
So the CAT scan is normally from here to here.
for you.
And
Okay.
yes,
So
yes.
that's still good, though. I mean, even though it's that scan anxiety, at least well, at least in a year or 3 months or 6 months, wherever you are, that I do get this scan to make sure nothing has come back.
Yes.
I think that's the unnerving part for some of us out here, that we don't, it's pretty bad if they give it, like, they may
I-
think it's pretty bad if they, like,
right.
yeah, it's so messed up. I really want to fight against that, because it's just not fair.
It's
I
not.
don't think.
It's not.
But I know
Because
it's money and everything else involved with it.
yeah, because we should be able to. It's a lot of things that I'm learning about disparities and just cancer as a whole, of the different
Mhm.
laws and the different medical things, that a lot of it is not fair. By
Right.
with them dropping the age to 40. Now, me personally, I thought it was already 40 because I started early with
Oh
one
yeah.
of my, yeah, but I think the age should be lower than 40, because we have so many women that are getting across the board, any race, that's getting it earlier and earlier, even the
Yep.
20s. And
Yep.
that's so alarming. It should be more of a criteria of things that you meet instead of your age.
Right.
Mhm,
Especially if it's genetics in the family, I think that
mhm,
they can go lower than that.
mhm,
I
mhm,
know the reason why they ended up even doing a mammogram in my 20s was because they thought I had cervical cancer at one point. And
mhm,
so
mhm,
that kind of, I guess, alarmed them. But
mhm,
then we didn't know any of my mom's history and my dad's history. I didn't know
mhm,
pretty much if they
mhm.
had anything.
Right.
So it's just like you said, there's 20-year-olds now. I have seen cases of 19-year-olds,
Mhm,
a few cases of 19-year-olds. And it's heart, it just breaks my heart because it's like,
No.
a lot of times they have to get a hysterectomy if they have a certain gene, well, they don't have to, but a lot of them do if they
Mhm.
have a particular gene mutation.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's just so sad. And then, then there's the other factor of ageism,
Mhm.
where if you're older, sometimes they don't even want to do a mammogram on you after a particular
Exactly.
age. And
Exactly.
that's sad. Or they'll try to make your treatment plan not, they don't offer you as much sometimes.
Mhm.
And it's not everybody, but there's some doctors that are like that. So it's just, it's alarming. It's alarming
Yes.
and it's heartbreaking.
Yes.
So in your journey, I know that you shared a lot. So was there any takeaways from like how this affected you overall? Like, how is life now after you've gone through everything, which you're still going through because you're going through another surgery,
Yeah.
and you're still getting scans and stuff. But, and I think that's sometimes a misconception of people because it's like, oh, well, you've already gotten chemo and radiation and
Mhm.
you're on tamoxifen, you're healed now. And it's like, pump the brakes.
You're
Cause,
right.
you know, yes, I'm believing it's not coming back. However, these are some of the things I have to do so the treatment plan continues, because we
Exactly.
always have to go to the doctor. And there's
Yes.
always, I think, that little lurking, like
Mhm.
you said, that comes with the scan anxiety and different things like that to make us think, what if you bump your arm and there's a bruise, but you forgot you bumped your arm? Like, what is
Yes.
that? Like, you're a growth of
Yes. Yes. Yes.
itching, anything, it can just really be alarming. So with everything that you've gone through,
Mhm.
um just give us like, what were your takeaways from going through what you've gone through thus far, and how did it affect your now? Like, how are you now, and what did you learn from this whole experience?
My faith in God got stronger.
Okay.
Um, still learning, but
Mhm.
my patience is a little bit better than what it used to be
Oh,
because
wow.
I have to be patient. I'm, I noticed with chemo, you had to be patient on letting everything just process through your body.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
my mom was a good person to, even though she never had cancer, she just was a good person to talk to about, having faith, being patient, um, just let the process work itself and you'll be fine. Yes, you're gonna have bad days, and trust me, you're going to have some bad
Mhm.
days. But it's another side of cancer. It's another side of going through what you're going through, and it only makes you stronger. We have weak moments. We're
Yeah.
human,
Yeah.
but it does make you stronger. It bonded my family
Mm.
more. It bonded me with my sons more, my mom. It bonded me with my relationship with my significant other.
Mhm.
These moments like this is called life moments. And it's not about winning or losing, it's about learning.
Mm.
And that's what I've learned most. It's about every day you're learning something and
Mhm.
take in account of everything you learn, whether it's something from something good or something bad,
Mhm.
you're gonna learn something.
So you've learned through this, obviously, is giving you more faith. Well, it's increased your faith, not giving
Faith.
you
It's
more
increased
necessarily,
my
but it's
faith.
increased your faith. Was there anything else that you want to share that you learned through this process?
Um, just don't be afraid to talk to other people. Don't be afraid to tell your story. Don't be afraid to talk about it. Um, I literally, like I said, was off social media for 2, maybe 3 years
Uh-huh.
because of COVID. And then once I started learning different things and I got back on social media and I started learning more and I started talking with people and, just networking
Right.
with other people that is breast cancer survivors or breast cancer patients. It's easy to be quiet.
Mhm.
And it's very hard to speak your truth, and it's very hard to speak, but just do that. Just speak. Just be honest with your truth, because we all have something that can be offered to anyone. You don't know, you never know who's watching you or what they could be going through by you telling your story, that it could help them.
Wow, that's powerful. And you tell your story. So, speaking of telling our stories, so what are some of the things now, Tamika Baker now, breast cancer survivor, thriver, whatever you want to add to it. But who are you now? Like, what are you doing now that through the result of everything that you've gone through? I heard you say your faith has increased, that you're more patient now, which that's something.
Look, I'm still working on it.
No,
Look,
I mean, no, I'm
yeah, but
envious of that, because Lord knows it seemed like my patience
yeah,
got a little lower, because it's like
yeah,
I'm real sensitive about time now. I have
right,
this thing
right.
about time, so I have to
Yeah.
calm myself down. But so what are you doing now? Because I heard you say that now you're speaking more. You went through a depressive moment with COVID, and you had to then go straight into battling triple negative breast cancer. But now, who is Tamika?
So Tamika is now an advocate. Tamika is now in the community and spreading my word and cheer and knowledge and encouragement, and being, there for other people, so that they don't have to go through this alone. Because even
Mm,
though sometimes you have family and friends to talk
right.
to, I feel like nobody really understand what you're going through but another breastie, but another person going through cancer. They
Mm-hmm.
know the struggles, they know the ups and the downs and the ins and the outs, the financial part, the family
Right.
part, everything. So that's what I'm doing now. I actually, during my um, time of recovering from my double mastectomy, I
Mm-hmm.
decided I was getting visions about what can I do. So I decided to start doing pop-up breastfeed beauty bar. And
Okay.
how that came about is that I know that all of us in the cancer realm, especially breast cancer
Mm-hmm.
patients, and especially women, even though it affects men as well, we lose our hair, we lose our skin may change, or we lose our
Mm-hmm.
eyebrows, lashes, and or your nails may fall off, or they become black, and
Right.
those different effects of chemo and radiation. So that's when I started thinking about a beauty bar, to where a breast cancer patient can just feel beautiful for one day. If it's just
Oh,
one day that they could just set aside, I have cancer, and just feel beautiful about themselves just for one day. So I did my first event
okay.
in Atlanta, in March, because
Mm-hmm.
that was triple negative breast cancer month, as well as my birthday month. So I did it in March. It actually went well out at Opulence Hair Studio in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And we was gonna host 10 women, but it ended up being 7. So we ended up having, they did hair care, um, makeup, photography. We had gifts, prizes, food. We also had a speaker, Dr. Diamond White, to come out and talk about mental health, on a spiritual and a mental, a
Right.
spiritual and a mental level of how you deal with breast cancer with regular, just everyday life.
Right.
And it was very powerful, very moving. My kids loved it. My sisters loved it. My niece, because I only have
Oh.
one niece. I don't have
Uh-huh.
any girls, so she's like my daughter. So she loved it, and it was not a dry eye in the room.
Wow.
And I had one person that came Africa. She hadn't had her hair professionally done. I think she
Mm-hmm.
said within 2 years, and now every week she goes back to Opulence after that event and get
Wow.
her hair done every week. So now I'm having one in Houston. It's going to
Okay.
be August the 13th from noon to 6. And I have partnered with Beauty School in Willowbrook, Ogle Beauty School.
Mhm.
And we're going to invite the ladies out. We're working on everything right now to finalize everything. I should have the flyer out. Give me about another week because I got to recover from the surgery.
Yeah, you do. Yep.
Yes, yes. But we definitely are gonna host the ladies here. We're gonna add on about three more speakers,
Okay.
and we're gonna do the same thing. And that's the goal. The main goal is hopefully to be nationwide in different cities doing pop-ups for all the breasties.
That is awesome. That's such a unique idea. Like I've seen it
Mhm,
locally, but they
mhm,
don't really move beyond their local area, which
yep, mhm,
sometimes, due to money and finances
mhm.
and stuff. But I love the fact that you're linking up and you're networking and you're getting it out there so that maybe you can do, well, you will do, not maybe, but that
Yes,
you will do it in other states. And
yes,
I think that is phenomenal.
yes,
Absolutely phenomenal. So
yes.
congratulations and thank you because you're like just passing all that hope out to the world. Yeah.
Thank you,
And
thank
you
you.
make
Yes,
people feel good because, like you
yes,
said, there's so many things. And even if a person doesn't go through chemo or radiation, there's still so many things with our body. Just the biopsy can mess your
yes,
skin up. And
exactly.
it's just so much that we go
Yes.
through. And to give someone a glimpse of hope in
Mhm,
that moment of just sitting there, having their hair done, listening to speakers and getting a gift,
mhm,
eating and fellowshipping with one another that's gone through your journey or similar to, because we all have different stories, but just being
mhm,
in that environment, that
mhm,
gives someone hope,
mhm.
hope that they may not have had before they walk through that door. So I think that's powerful. And
Thank you.
hopefully people out there listening, anyone who want to help her out, just give her. So speaking of which, where can people find you?
Yes.
Yeah,
People can find me on Facebook as Pink Breasty Sister Presents. And then they also can follow me on Instagram and TikTok under just Pink Breasty Sister. I'm also in the process of making Pink Breasty Sister Presents a nonprofit. And that way we're going to be doing not only the pop-up beauty bars, we're going to do, different events where you could just have a day where you're not thinking about cancer
right.
and you can just think about fellowshipping, networking, bonding, because that's
Right.
also one of the things that I liked it about my event. I had a story time. So each person had their
Mm,
own breast cancer journey, their own stage, their own phase, and we all learned from each other, from
wow.
each other's experience and the resources and the network. And we learned all of that together.
Yeah, because even though breast cancer happened
Mhm.
and it is a part of our story and our life, it doesn't define us. And
That's
there's
right.
life after.
After. Mhm.
We are different, I would say,
Yes.
in different ways, but there is still life after.
Yes.
And giving that, as you know, I asked you for a song. And I said, what song would you like to go with your reel? Because that's what I like for guests to do. Give me a song. Give me a song that kind of resembles like what you've gone through or just something that's encouraging to you. So you gave me Lettucey Pieces of Me, correct? Did I say
Yeah,
I do that right? Okay.
that's
So
correct.
with that being said, what is the story behind this song?
The story behind this song is that I have so many different pieces of my life that a lot of people don't know about, not even my own family. Not only am I a breast cancer survivor, a lot of people going to find out some things about me today. But I I've had I've attempted suicide before. I've been depressed before.
Mhm.
I've been emotionally and I guess abused before. So these things are different pieces of my
Mhm.
life that has molded me to the person that I am today. Not
Wow.
only am I a mother, I'm a sister, I'm an aunt, I'm a friend, I'm a coworker, I'm a advocate. I'm
Right.
different parts of me, and those are the different pieces that
Mm.
bonds me to the person that I am.
I love it. Oh my God. Make me cry. Oh, so I always say, leave us with a word that can help another brother, sister, whomever's listening, get through their scars. What word describes the scars you've been through, the scars you have, and well, excuse me, the wounds you've been through, the scars that you have. What's one word that you can give someone else to heal? Oh, I can't hear you. Okay.
Warrior.
Warrior. Okay.
Yeah. God, it's so many words. Just have faith. I think faith is my main thing that has really gotten me through a lot of things. I've been through a lot over,
Mhm.
let's see, I'm 47. I've been through a lot for over 20, 25 years.
Wow.
And like I said, a lot of people don't know my real story, my true story, other things other than breast
Mhm.
cancer. But what's gotten me through is faith. I moved here on faith
Mhm.
without any job. A lot of people didn't know that. I moved here
Oh,
without a
wow.
job. But I moved on faith. I didn't move
Right.
on fear. And even with what I'm doing now, I'm moving on faith and not fear. Because
Mm.
that's what I know that's gonna carry me through. And he's never failed me yet. I might fall a little, I might tumble a little, but he always string me back up,
That's right.
push me along.
And that's what makes you the warrior you are today, your faith. So
Thank
I
you.
like to leave you with the word, and that is hope. When I hear you speak, when I hear what you do for women and what you've gone through, you moving, that was a faith move,
Yeah.
but it also took hope to get you where you were as well. So when I look at you, hear your story, I think of hope. So I want you to continue to be hopeful with
Yes.
everything that God has promised you, with everything that God has even promised you for other people.
Yes.
Continue to be hopeful, continue to be faithful, continue to pursue everything that God's called you to, because I promise you, continue to hold strong to his word, continue to hold strong to your faith. He will see you through everything. And you already know this, but I just want to let you know to continue to have hope, continue to spread hope, and continue to have on blinders when
Yeah.
it comes to the things of God that he's called you to do, because so many distractions can come, but keep that tunnel vision. Keep that
Yes.
tunnel vision on him, and
Mhm.
he will provide everything for you.
Yes. Amen.
All
Well,
right.
thank you, sister. Thank you,
You're
my faith
welcome.
sister.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much for coming tonight. I really appreciate it. This was so good. And so everyone, once again, she told you where you can find her. If you want to, Tamika, after this is over, you can go on Facebook and put it in the comments where to find you.
Okay.
Got some amens in the chat and from people on Facebook, my niece, and I thank you again. And I thank everyone who's watching. If you have questions for her, like I stated, she will have her information down there, and I will see you all before the month is out, because we have another guest this month. All right. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you and have a good night. Thank
All
you
right.
again, and
You
you're
too.
welcome.
Oh, thanks. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.